According to an independent research commissioned by Amadeus, African travelers still value traditional bricks and mortar travel agencies. However, they are increasingly looking for agents that offer online and mobile services as smartphone penetration across the continent increases. Google Communications and Public Affairs Manager for East and Francophone Africa region, Dorothy Oko, gives details on how some of these apps have helped in the development of tourism.
Dorothy, I want to welcome you to Tech Trends.
Thank you. Thanks, Emeka, for having me.
I'd like to find out from you how all these apps and services being created by Google can help develop the tourism industry in Africa.
So I think one of the apps that we have, which we call the Google app, is an app that just helps remind you, is your personal assistant. If you're traveling, for instance, it reminds you that you need to get your ticket, you need to have your vaccination cards ready. And sometimes you need an assistant to do that. But with the Google app, it just is your assistant. It tells you you're going to arrive here, this is the weather, what the weather will be like, make sure you carry warm clothes, and make sure you carry an umbrella because Nairobi is raining. So I think those are things that you need an app that helps you do that. But then when you get to the country, and let's say you're speaking pidgin English, I've been trying to follow what you're saying. Now, I wish I could ask Google Translate, how do you say this? I got no chop, and it says you have no money, I'd like to do that, and I think that's what the Google Translate does. It really it also translates languages for you. You saw what you could do in Kiswahili when you went to the Carnival restaurant. The menu is in Swahili, and you want to understand what it says in English, you're able to say that. And we are telling people that if you travel in Africa where we have these languages, that you can actually do translation and not be so lost in this foreign country.
The Kenyan tech industry is booming at the moment. What would you say is responsible for these developments?
I think one of the things that has really helped Kenya, I think, first of all, was the fact that we started with M-Pesa, this mobile money, that actually made people, whether it was in the rural areas or in the urban centers, get used to the idea that technology could actually deliver money.
But M-Pesa, was it backed by government?
No, I think it's just something that grew. It was very organic. When it first started, I think people did not believe that money could be in your phone and that you could send money through your phone. But I think it picked up and people saw the use, the convenience, the ease of use, and you didn't need to be very literate. You just needed to follow the steps and be able to send money. And I think that picked up. And that has helped the technology industry in realizing that, it's not so hard. So what I find in Kenya is we're very adaptable. We are willing to adapt new technology. We're willing to try new things. And if you bring it here, we are always adapting and always accepting that. Whereas in other countries, mobile money hasn't always taken off as it is. That's also, if you look at payment of electricity, before you had to have a meter, and now you have a prepaid token, you put money in it and you key it in. So everything is almost going through that technology phase where you are no longer using cash. And even though you don't have a credit card system, you have this technology that enables you to be able to pay for your utilities, and that works. And I think that ease of use of a population accepting that technology, they're not averse to technology. And I think that's what we need to do. If in the rural areas, people are not averse to technology, they're not averse to what is happening, then it's easy.
Did the Kenyan government create policies that would deliberately encourage the industry?
No, I think what the government has done is actually create policy that enables e-government to work. So if you look at Kenya right now, like even when we started, let's say even with voting and people needed to vote or you need to get your ID card, you can actually apply for it. We have Huduma, which means service. It's an e-service and it's a portal by the government. So if you want your passport, if you want your ID, or any renewal of your driver's license, you can go there and then apply for it, or you can go online and apply for it. And that has made it easier because the government is actually determined to make sure that everything goes digital. So the other thing is taxes. Government started, KRA, Kenya Revenue Authority, decided with iTax. So you just register online and you're able to sort out your taxes online. And I think when the government creates this forum where that's the only way to access government services, then it makes people and service providers go digital. And I think the two go hand in hand.
Dominant of male figure in the ICT industry have left many females to opt out of science and technology for fear of the technicality involved and society's expectations of the career path women should pursue.
Let's talk about women in technology. How can we get more women in Africa to be in technology? Because it's very important.
That's a good question. I think one of the ways is actually by encouraging, supporting girls in primary schools taking up sciences. So at Google, what we've done as well, we do support girls who study science, technology, and mathematics. And we have a program, Google at Women, that actually encourages women at Google, that encourages women to go out to schools and support more girls in technology. But I think also what needs to happen, other than that, is, I don't know, having initiatives where if you have 10 boys who are doing this, I think we need to have 20 girls studying that. Really, it has to be that. And I think supporting that. And what I've seen, if I look at Kenya, what I see now are more and more women in technology field. Of course, if you still look at the boardrooms, at the tech boardrooms, it's still skewed, it's still majority male. But I think that the place to start is actually in the schools, making sure that girls are taking up the sciences. And if it's a fear that they have, how do we encourage them? So at Google, what we do, women at Google as well, we go out to schools and talk to girls and we say, look at us, we are working at Google in a technology firm. This is what we do. Do you want to come and work? And this is what happens. And they go, oh, really? Do you have to do this? Do you have to know maths very well? Do you have to know physics? So how do we encourage them? It really has to be creating that environment that nurtures young women to want to study sciences and to think that it's really attractive. And so when they see someone, they think, I want to be like you.
Let's talk about the Google Cultural Institute. I'm interested to know what the level of your impact has been across Africa.
Good question. I think we are still in the early stages. I don't to really talk about that impact. If I look at, so let me give you the last 3 launches. So Google Cultural Institute is really about Google bringing technologies to help people access culture, their culture everywhere. So we are using the technologies that we know, but then bringing that culture, that art that we share everywhere. So if I look at what we did in Nigeria, the history of Lagos, that was part of the Centenary Project, it's about showing Nigerians, this is the history of Lagos. This is what has happened. Look at this. This is how Lagos has developed.
It's all accessible online.
And it's all accessible online. And if you look at Kenya, what we've done with the Kenya National Archives, which is almost close like the history of Lagos, is showing Kenyans, this is the history of Kenya. These are the people who fought for the independence of Kenya. You can get it. And there's a mobile app for it. If you look at the Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu archives, where you're also seeing Nelson Mandela's letters, how he grew up, his childhood really before he was imprisoned, it's showing people our history. Part of the problem we have is that Africa's history has been told by the West and by other people. In Google Cultural Institute, what we see is we are telling our own story through our archives, through our historical records, and thereby making our history told by Africans.
And finally, before I let you go, what are your favorite apps that you like to use as a busy mother and a busy executive?
So, one app that really helps me keep my business, really helps me keep the pace, is a meditation app. It's called Headspace. It helps me take minutes in a day to just breathe and be in the present moment. I am a mindfulness believer, mindfulness meditation. And so I find that technology does keep me too busy. You're always on your social media sites, you're always on your laptop. You don't get time to breathe. This just helps me bring my thoughts together, take a deep breath, and re-energize myself and be more alert. So the other app that I really like is Pocket App. It's a wonderful app, and I think it's one of the best things for people who like reading, because what happens is I find so many useful links I want to read on social media, on LinkedIn, on Google Plus, on Facebook, on Twitter. There's so many links on Pinterest, and I want to read all of them, and I can't. So it enables me to save them. And when I'm on my flight to wherever I'm going, then I'm able to read them. If I'm at a meeting waiting to meet Emeka and he's running late, I'm able to read them. So I find them really useful. So the other app I really like is Water Your Body. In our busyness, we forget to drink water, and yet water is quite critical. So I found out that, you know, the amount of water you need to drink is relative to your weight. So if you weigh more, then you need to drink more. And then it also tells you if you're drinking if you have stayed for long without drinking water, it makes a loud noise. So people look at you and wonder, are you pouring water anywhere? But then it just really makes you drink. And so at the end of it, I drink the amount of water I need to drink. I really like it. But my best app of all is the Google app. You know, it's just a G on on Google Play. And the Google app is my personal assistant. It really lets me know when I travel, and I travel a lot. It lets me know when my flights are arriving, what I need to know, the weather in that country, where I need to take pictures, because it knows I love taking photos, and just what I need to know about the area. So for me, it makes life really easy. It also reminds me, you know, people's birthdays, when I need to leave the house because there's crazy traffic. And it's my personal assistant.
Well, Dorothy, thank you so much for being on Tech Trends today.
Thank you, Emeka. I really enjoyed it.
That's all we have for you on today's edition of the show. Let's continue the conversation online, so do follow us on social media. You can watch these and other editions of the show on the channel's TV YouTube account or via my blog, techsmart.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwuemeka Agbata.